Iron Man just got served by a freaking Sentinel. Well, it's not just a Sentinel, it's a Sentinel-sized Iron Man armor. This issue is just insane. Let me know later on how do you think Iron Man will defeat his own tech. So the issue starts with Tony strolling along the beach with Emma Frost. They were talking about Feilong on how he was bragging that the mutants are already defeated. Emma disagreed and Feilong is biting more than he can chew. Meanwhile, Sunfire arrives to give Tony some information about Feilong on their altercation on Phobos. With the help of Emma Frost, they projected the memories of Sunfire into Tony. We see Sunfire first encounter of Feilong on Mars. Feilong just killed a winged monster. Sunfire told Feilong he couldn't protect him in the new mutant world, but Feilong didn't need his protection and was just looking for a worthy nemesis. Tony was amused as he didn't expect Feilong to already have powers when he landed on Mars. Sunfire told him Jean Grey did some telepathic snooping, and Emma Frost said he remade himself with a time machine. Sunfire confirmed he built a time machine and harvested cosmic rays. Their ruby quartz lenses, it's given him an ability not unlike Cyclops. Feilong has a hold on Phobos and the mutants there are amused by the situation. Sunfire then needed to leave as he has other mission in other worlds. Tony then summoned his armor and thanks Emma for the download and the warning. Tony told Emma as he was suiting up that he has fought them all. Rich villains, villains with brains, and villains with grudges and agendas. But Feilong is the first triple threat who has it all. Then as Iron Man leaves, he told Emma, "You remind me of someone," and Emma replied, "I get that a lot." Iron Man commanded Boss to show him transportation logs from the Stark Unlimited in the last quarter. Iron Man was surprised with what he saw. He thought Feilong was gonna make Start Industries a nightmare factory, but he had already did. Iron Man discovers there are a lot of metal flowing in a factory in Texas. He can make thousands of armor and that is where Iron Man is heading. In the next scene, we see Feilong entering a building. He announced that since there will be a new management and it's typical that their employment are in jeopardy and everyone doesn't need to worry as all their jobs are safe. But secretly after the announcement, he told one of his guys he has 3 lists of employees who will be fired. Some will get paid to leave and there are only a few employees he wishes to retain. On the next scene, we see Feilong entering a dome-like facility. He is greeted by a scientist and told him this is where the most secured information are stored. And he was informed that Mr. Feilong wants to review all of Tony Stark's files. Feilong corrected him and he only wanted to look at Howard Stark's files. Feilong is on there for a while. He wanted every bit of information he can gather. The scientist assured him and he will be getting all that. Feilong then discovers that there are 24 serial numbers that are missing. The scientist told him that the serial numbers aren't digital files but physical objects that Howard gave to Tony as inheritance. And for tax reasons, the company absorbed those inheritance and labeled them as research and development. And the said items are stored in Texas. So that's where Feilong went. Feilong discovered a lot of historical items. It's like walking back in time. The scientist told him that these items belongs legally to the company. That's why it evaded Tony's adventure to bankruptcy. Feilong then discovers a painting, and it seems weird for Howard to get such a thing. The scientist told him that it was bought for $3 million when Tony was still a child. Feilong then went on to put on a hole in the painting and made an even bigger hole as he rips it open and discovers Tony's real inheritance, a set of recordings by Howard to Tony. Feilong commanded the scientist to never speak of this to anyone. Feilong then started watching these recordings. Howard greeted Tony and to buckle up as there is so much he needs to tell him. Feilong fast forwards the recording looking for more information. Feilong stopped at the scene where Howard was saying he has a lot of enemies and he needs to work in secret. Howard said he is trading ideas with Adam Brasher and Tony should look him up in their archives. Howard then mentioned he discovered a new element which is outside of our periodic table, since it's outside of our universe. If he is able to find this element, it would be more significant than iron to our ancestors. He named the element as Miracle Metal. Lastly, he said, "I'm leaving you with my notes on these film canisters. If I am unsuccessful, you can finish what I am about to begin." And said, "And this is your last inheritance, son." Later that night, Iron Man arrives at the same facility. He opened these gigantic metal doors and left his armor to hold the door open. He was blinded with the bright lights of the facility. As his vision was coming back, he was shocked to see a Stark Industry Sentinel before him. The days of killing machines bearing my name are back. The Stark Sentinel is almost completed as Tony suddenly gets zapped from behind by Feilong. Feilong told him the zap came from a crowd control type drone that they will be selling to the police department. Feilong told Tony he has discovered his real inheritance as he went on to burn the footages. Tony was confused as he has no idea what Feilong is talking about. Feilong then went on to beat Tony and said, "I didn't go to Mars to see mutant accomplishment but to witness a human failure." Feilong was pissed that Tony and the Avengers had an accomplishment at Mars, but they all walk away. Tony said Earth needed us. Feilong replied, "No, it doesn't. It needs me. I have learned so much from the messages your father left you. A fascinating discovery of an undiscovered element could change the world. He left clues to something wonderful. You'll learn of my discovery together with the rest of the world." Feilong then escorted Tony to his armor and said, "Haven't you wondered why I haven't killed you yet? I want you to witness me be the man you should have become." Feilong then said he has already burned the footages. Tony interrupted and said, "I don't believe you will destroy anything important from my father." Then Feilong unveiled he has a photographic memory. As Tony was suiting up, Feilong released a blast so strong that it threw Iron Man outside of the factory. Feilong sent out a threat to Iron Man. "Start running. Your life and those of your friends will become very unpleasant." Feilong then commanded the Sentinel to come online for a target practice. The Stark Sentinel went live and started attacking Iron Man. Tony discovered it wasn't fun to fight someone with superior technology. Iron Man is obviously no match for this monster. This isn't just a bigger Iron Man armor. This is more powerful, more tanky. Tony then put all his reserve batteries into his thrusters and fled. Feilong then deactivated the Stark Sentinel, smiled and said, "Run Tony, tell the world what's coming," as the comic ends. Obviously, Iron Man is no match for this Sentinel-sized Iron Man armor. This technology is just beyond his current tech. Iron Man will definitely need to regroup and upgrade his armor by a lot before he faces this Stark Sentinel and Feilong. The story just keeps getting interesting for this Iron Man series and I can't wait to see more of it. Meanwhile, you guys could check the other video right here of the Avengers voting for their next leader. This is Carl and see you in the next one.